Data review is the process of preparing assessment data to be analyzed and reported. In this video, we demonstrate the basics of reviewing data in ARM. Analysis of variance, or AOV, is commonly used for data analysis, so our focus for data review is on AOV. Specifically, to address whether the data fit the assumptions of this analysis. We introduced the AOV method and its assumptions in a previous video. It is recommended to review that presentation before proceeding with this content. The primary tool for data review in ARM is the Column Diagnostics panel. This can be opened from the Assessment Data Editor. On the far right edge of the window, a box titled Column Diagnostics opens this tool. Hide the Regular Properties panel and expand this panel to view the full content. Column Diagnostics displays data review details for the assessment column where the cursor is. The top section is the Diagnostics table with descriptive statistics of the assessment data across various potential actions or transformations available for the data. The first few rows of this table are essentially attributes of the data, used more in the data confirmation step. These attributes describe how many data points are included in the analysis and how many are missing for various reasons. Our main focus is these 4 rows, which are tests for the assumptions of AOV. The table displays the p-value result of each test. So when the value is significant, smaller than your alpha level, then we have an assumption or problem to address. We use the IID column to determine if any action is necessary for this data. The IID column is calculated on the residuals of the data, not the raw data points themselves. Here in Assessment 1, most tests pass, except for the Levene's test. This indicates heterogeneity of variance, a departure from the AOV assumptions. So how do we meet the assumptions of AOV? The recommendations table provides a summary of the 4 assumption tests and makes a recommendation for the action needed, if any. For the tests that do not fail, the code IID is listed to indicate that no action is necessary. IID stands for identically and independently distributed. In this column, the logarithm transformation, AL, successfully corrects the heterogeneity of variance. But if we check the diagnostics table above, we can see that both AL and AS work. So which should we choose? The basis option tells ARM what to consider when making recommendations. The option Assessment Values looks only at the numbers and chooses a transformation that works. But ARM can consider the type of data that is entered to make a better recommendation. If we select rating type as the basis, ARM now knows that this is count data, and the recommendation changes to AS. The square root transformation is more appropriate for counts of a rare event like diseased plants. To accept the proposed transformation, double-click on the recommendation in the table, and AS is added to the ARM Action Codes field in this assessment column. Note that this does not change any of the entered data. Instead, these codes are instructions for when the analysis is performed. Repeat this process with each assessment column to be analyzed. In this assessment, the recommended action is IID for all of the tests. This is the way to indicate you have reviewed the data, but no corrections were necessary. Also, this is a way to sign off that the data is reviewed and ready for analysis and reporting. For a deeper look at the data, view diagnostic graphs by clicking Show. On the left are graphs for the residuals, used to visualize departures from the AOV assumptions. On the right are graphs for the recommended action to confirm the issue is resolved. There is a graph for each of the tests from the recommendations table. For this assessment, kurtosis was significant in the residuals, but we can see that the square root transformation resolves this issue without breaking any of the other assumptions. So we can accept the recommendation for this assessment column. The last assessment in our example has a different kind of recommendation. None of the transformations resolve the failed Shapiro-Wilks test for normality, so the action AR is recommended instead. This performs a non-parametric analysis in place of AOV for this assessment column. Non-parametric statistics do not have the same assumptions as analysis of variance, and so is the preferred alternative when those requirements cannot be met. Although ranks are used to analyze the data, mean separation tests can still be run on the mean of the ranks, and so the results are presented very similar for AR assessment columns on the AOV means table report.